Time now for a Sioux Falls real estate update with Brent Baker with Keller Williams and Clients First Group. How are you, sir?
Hey, my boots are on the ground.
That's a good and we've got Bella taking a nap over here, it looks like. It did not take long for her to take that nap. I bet you guys have been out having fun, haven't you?
We have been a lot of different places lately. So for her, probably just to find a nice, comfy spot is a good deal.
She likes it here, and I like it when she's here. Thank you, Bella. What kind of dog is Bella?
We don't know.
Oh, well, an adorable dog. That's what she is. So today we're going to talk about something that's kind of fun. We're going to talk about how things are different today from 2008. There are probably some people who remember back in 2008. Things got a little hairy for a bit there, didn't it?
It was ugly.
Yeah, and there were foreclosures and there were things that weren't necessarily great. We're going to talk today about how things are different, and different hopefully in a good way, right?
Correct. And they are. We hear a lot of people saying, well, it's going to crash, or I'm going to wait to buy when it crashes. But you have to ask yourself the question, what is a crash?
Yeah.
If you're a seller, a 5% adjustment in price is a really big deal.
Yeah.
But if you're a buyer, you're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah.
So first have to ask yourself, what is a crash and to whom? And if you think you're going to buy at the bottom, another statement I've heard many times, how are you going to know when you hit bottom?
Yeah, you don't know. And
well, once it goes back up.
Yeah, but there's no way to know in that moment, because
correct.
You and I think if you start thinking too much into that, then you almost think way too much into that, and then you get in a position where you're like, oh, I should have, could have, maybe would have if I had known, and that's dangerous too.
Everybody says, well, it's too high. They've been saying that for generations.
Yeah.
But 5 years later, historically, if you wait 5 years later, you look back and go, oh,
I should have done this 5 years ago.
That's exactly it.
So homeowners who are deciding to sell their house right now, they shouldn't wait because there's not as many homes being sold right now, are there?
Correct. Inventory is much tighter than it was back when there was the housing bubble. There was an oversupply of homes and some other economic forces at work. So that phrase that history repeats itself is partially true, but there's always different circumstances involved. So if housing slows down, well, what are the circumstances this time? The other part is your life does not stop.
No.
So if you need to sell because you want to get closer to grandkids or a smaller home, whatever that case may be, what's going to change tomorrow about your life that makes it worth waiting for the unknown?
And there are some people who are in a position where they can wait as long as they feel like waiting because, they don't need to sell. They can go and buy another home and have a couple of homes, but that's not everybody, is it?
It's not. And then you start missing out on opportunity costs for your money.
Yeah.
You think, well, I'll hang on to it till the market goes up and then sell that one. Well, what could that money have been doing for you in the interim while you pay taxes, insurance, and maintenance on a second property?
Absolutely. Well, we've got a graph I'm going to hold up to the radio here. Oh, wait, that doesn't work, does it? No, the graph shows average annual inventory of homes for sale, and there was a huge bubble. 2008 was the kind of the big top of the market when there were a bunch of homes for sale at that time. And it looks like the bottom, the lowest, was 2021, and we're back up a little bit from 2021, but we're nowhere near where it was back in the 2008, 2009, 2010. So what is the reason for that? Just because people are not selling as much right now, or?
Well, there is a little bit of that, but we're not even halfway back to that volume of inventory.
Yeah.
But along the way, we've had supply chain issues.
Yeah.
Another thing that happened as a result of the housing bubble is just the cost of building homes has gone up. The other part is that builders don't make very much money on what we would have called a starter home back at that time. There was very little profit there. So builders in general have drifted away from what we call the starter home. Yeah. There are a few companies that still do them, but by and large, they started going to the mid and upper range homes. And so that really created a dramatic shift and pulled a lot of people out of the market.
And I'm looking at another chart in the same story here. It says builders are not overbuilding, they're just getting caught up. So for a while there, it seemed like there were building projects on every corner, and every builder had 7 homes that they were working on at any given time. And we still see some of that in some areas where there are big builders doing big volumes, but apparently not as much as what we used to see.
That's correct. They've paid a huge price for that housing bubble. And so they're going to be a little more cautious, and they're smart about being that way. They're very cognizant of what the consumer wants, and bringing some value. Now, of course, prices have gone up, but that's just inflation.
Yeah.
There's nobody buying a house in 2024 working for a 1970 wage or even a 2000 wage.
Exactly. Another thing on here, it says foreclosure filings are very low right now compared to the past, which, again, that's good news, I think, isn't it?
Correct. There again, homeowners learned a painful lesson. When they walked away from their home just because the value had shifted away, well, they really hardened their credit score and found themselves renting for a very long time.
Yeah.
The other part is I think the consumer got a little smarter in other areas as well. If you go out to try and find foreclosures now in our region, they're really hard to come by.
Yeah.
Just very, very hard.
Well, and I know for a while there, it seemed like you would see that on signs a lot, and I haven't seen one in a long, long time. If somebody listening is going, hey, I would like to maybe chat with somebody about selling my home, maybe they've been putting it off, or maybe they just recently thought this would be a good idea, I encourage them to connect with you. What is the best way for them to get in touch with you, Brent?
You can call or text 605-310-0297, or you can email me at brentbaker@kw.com.
Very nice. Again, Brent Baker with Clients First Group and Keller Williams. You can find him online at clientsfirstgroup.com. And if you caught the tail end of this and you're going, what did they say? Well, you can listen to this as a podcast as well at SiouxFallsPodcast.com.